welcome back to Mortals and Portals, a Pathfinder real play podcast. I'm your host and GM, Zach, and joining me at the table is...
Adam, and I play Jules and Nazarketi Bard.
My name is Joel, and I play Tax, a kobold rogue.
Ryan, I play Tough. I forgot what I am.
That's fine. Who cares?
An automaton inventor.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Taryn.
I'm Taryn, and I play Walt's automaton inventor.
Okay.
My name is Josh, and I play Don Reynard Guion de las Nubes.
We're recording a coal mine that just collapsed, so it's like really dusty.
I got the black lung pop.
Guys, I got to come clean
Joel's
about something.
having issues with his voice.
I don't really play an automaton inventor. I play a human champion.
We just saw you deleted your character sheet again and rebuilt it incorrectly.
You never once played an automaton inventor this whole time. I was just trying to be sensitive to Joel and make sure that he felt comfortable because he's starting to lose his voice.
I am, so apologies ahead of time.
And I think I can say it now at this point, right? Like I play a what are they called?
Kitsune.
I guess not.
Sorry, Josh. The time has passed. Don't you dare say it.
Yeah, we're not redoing the recording now. Sorry, it's too late.
You've ruined it.
Yes.
Wow.
What do you play, a katana?
You didn't
I
hear
play
me.
it, yeah.
All right,
It was ruined way before that.
Well, in case you guys didn't notice, we released, and talking to listeners, I know you guys wouldn't notice this yet because this is in the past technically, and you can't see the future, so you didn't know that this was happening. But we are going to release our Patreon downtime from last episode where we talk about the episode. And so it should have been released right before this. If you skipped it, that's serving as the recap for the last episode because a ton of stuff happened. There was a lot of lore, and we just recorded that, and I didn't feel like describing it all again because it was just such a long, beefy episode. So if you really want to get that recap, if there's been some time since you last listened to it and you want to get caught up before we dive back in, and you skipped it, make sure you go back, listen to that, and then come back here. So we'll wait. If you want to go do that, we'll just wait. Maybe Joel just put in
Actually,
5
I'm gonna
seconds
go do that
of
real
silence.
quick too. I forgot everything.
Yeah, I should
All right,
probably
go do
listen.
that. Okay, everyone be quiet.
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
And if you like it, check out, maybe consider joining our Patreon, because then you'll get one of those for every episode.
Yeah, we do that for every episode. I mean, you ruined the moment of silence there, Joel, but I appreciate the plug. Yeah, that's good
Look,
stuff.
I get it. I'm so
I tried to add
uncomfortable with silence. I can't
Enjoy
handle it.
silence. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Okay, I'm back.
yeah,
Got
we're
it.
back. Thanks for doing that. We're here still. You paused it. You came back. It's right
Did
here.
you listen
Awesome.
to it on 10 times speed?
Cool. So that means we're ready to play, guys. No recap.
Let's do it.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
heck yeah. It means we just get to freaking start rather than
And
listen
normally
to
I
Zach
say, and that
try
is
to
where we
recap
ended our session. So
for
yeah,
like
Tough
5 minutes.
just fell over lifeless as the spirit left him and was absorbed by Gothrum. And that is where we ended our session. So that is where we will start our session. So you all suddenly realize you have been released from Gothrum's spell, whatever he was doing to invade your minds. You're no longer bound to that one spot on the floor. You just saw this spirit appear before you, say all this very incredible stuff about you potentially being keepers and you have this duty and talking to Renard. But then this spirit instantly left and was absorbed by Gothrum in this bright light before you. He exhales out of his nose. You just see some bright blue spirit energy exhale from him as he lowers his head and grips his fist. You can tell he feels more powerful. He's just absorbed the Flora Devida, and now this spirit, I guess you don't exactly know what all that would give him or grant him. And you look over and see Tough as well after these spirit tethers that were attached to him have gone, and he is just laying flat on his back with a hole burnt into his shirt with his power core exposed and open with what just looks like steam and energy flowing out of it as he lays motionless. What do you do?
Tough. I immediately get up and I run over to him, pick him up, hold him, maybe fanning his power core.
What state is
And-
Reynard in right now?
You are all in the same state, but
Okay.
Reynard, can you roll me a nature check with a +4 circumstance bonus?
Okay. 22. Oh, wait, no. +4. 22 plus 4.
Oh, nice.
26.
Awesome. Renard, you suddenly realize, as if you just had this gauntlet of a day and sat down for the first time, that You're dangerously low on the life energy the Flora Devida gives you. The first true sign of this was when you were no longer able to sustain your human form completely by accident. It just began to fade. And as the day has gone on and you've been rushing, feeling so close to the Flora Devida, it was almost sustaining you in a way just purely based on adrenaline. But now that you've felt the weight of Gothrum's spell locking you in place, your mind invaded, feeling truly desperate, and all of the vigorous attempts you made to fend off this spell and this magic that was over you has drained you even further. And as you see this figure before you doing all that he has done, and you try your best to stand to your feet as you normally would in a heroic fashion, you almost can't even stand up for a moment, and you feel super weak, are struggling to catch your breath, and your vision is shaky, and you're waning back and forth. And this is a feeling you haven't ever felt before in your life, and everything in your mind is telling you this is not good.
Okay, try and just steady myself then. And it looks like Tough is taken out as well, like he's like knocked out, powered
Yes.
down. And the guy absorbed the Flora Devida.
He absorbed the spirit, and earlier you were able to tell that he siphoned energy from the Flora Devida, but last you saw he was holding it and it was just very faint, and like the petals looked like they were dying and curled over, but it still had some power.
Is he?
within it.
Do I feel like he's still like a combatant? Like, can I approach him?
He is simply standing before you. He doesn't look like he's taking any action against you. I don't know if you necessarily feel like you're buddies, if that's what you're asking, but
Yeah. I feel like Reynard is kind of, this is a whole lot to process real quick. Can I think, I don't know, if he walks up to him, you know those moments where you're so tired you just don't care, and you
Yeah.
you just move, and I think he's just gonna walk over and try and at least like gently like take the Flora Devida out of his, not like jerking it out, but like trying to see if he'll just let Reynard like just kind of gingerly, like almost like he's like cradling a child, like take what's left of the Flora Devida out of his hands.
All right. You all see Reynard stumble to his feet, waning side to side. Jules, you're maybe crouched down by Tough. He looks dead, essentially. You don't really know how to operate on automatons. You don't even understand what just happened. You just feel like his power core is missing, and you feel very desperate. And you're looking around and seeing Reynard walk towards this formidable figure that you all just experienced, holding you in place against your will and like reading your minds. So Waltz, you're seeing him do this as well. Dax, you are also seeing that. Does anyone, what do you guys do when you see Reynard stumbling towards this dwarf?
Dax will kind of come to a little bit. Renard, don't. We stand no chance.
I've come so far.
I know, but look what he did to us. We gotta go.
I cannot.
And Dax will weakly like reach out for him. I don't think he's even gonna get up. He's pretty out of it right now from what happened. But he's just gonna sort of plead with him from his
When
his
you
position.
say, "We gotta go," you hear, "Yes, you do." And look over and see this figure turning his head slowly towards you and reaches into his cloak and pulls out the Flora Devida that looks very dim and lifeless. "It seems the keepers have given you further favor on this day." He slowly outreaches his hand and waits for Reynard to take it from him.
What?
Yeah, I think Reynard, like, this is one, he's just exhausted. He just looked back over like his whole past. This has been the thing he's been hunting for so long. I don't think he's really thinking with like reason and logic. I think he's just seeing the goal like right in front of him. And so yeah, whether it's a moth to flame or like an honest offer, he's gonna see if he can take it from him. Like not roughly, like very gingerly.
You reach out your hand, it's trembling. You're stumbling a bit, and this dwarf does not move their hand, just looking at you, not coming towards you, making it easier for you to grab it, but just patiently waiting until you place yourself before their hand. And as you look at this Flora Devida, it's like you were wandering in a desert for weeks and stumbled upon a oasis of water that could replenish you, keep you alive. And although this Flora Devida is nowhere near its full potential, the state that you have always ever seen it in, and it looks sad and dying, it still fills you with so much hope and optimism and pride and joy, and you want nothing more than to drink from its power. You place your hand on the Flora Devida and remove it from the lifeless, dull, gray hands of this dwarf. And as you take it, he simply puts his hand at his side and looks at you to see what you do with it, almost looking at you like all of you, wondering what you're going to say or do.
Reynard's gonna like look down at the Flora Devida, like that kind of moment where something that you feel like it should be super big feels way too small, and he looks up at the keeper, I suppose, and I guess he has there's a question on his mind, like, are you done with us? Like, are we done with you? Like, would it be worth saying, you think? Like, or does Reynard get a sense from this guy that he's more watching us as a curiosity than like?
Yeah, I don't really know what Reynard would be thinking, but at least
Okay.
someone in the group could tell that this is an extremely odd turn of events. Like, you haven't known this person long, but this just seems uncharacteristic of them, even in the limited time you have known them.
Then
And regardless, you would want maybe some explanation, or like he just gifted you something and said it in a way like you need to do something with it.
So then I'll look at him, and I hate him, like hate this guy, like whatever's left in me to like feel like strong emotion. I don't look at him with anything but enmity, and I say, have you gotten what you wanted? Are you done with us?
I have not gotten everything I've wanted, but I have taken an elder oath, and I am to ensure you are able to return to Lorthal with an opportunity to return this to the soils of Ciudad de Nubes.
Then I'm just gonna turn my back to him and walk over to the gang, all kind of around like Tough, I suppose. Or is everybody up? Like, is everybody awake other than Tough at this point? Like,
Jules, I'm sure at this point, just being near Tough for this long and seeing him not move and just trying to soak in what's going on, but then looking at like perhaps your best friend not moving, you might be in like a bit of a panic mode at this point.
Yeah, Jules is continuing to look him over to try to cool the core area off, and without really thinking much about it, he'll turn to this dwarf and he'll say, "How do I save him?"
He slowly walks up with no urgency in his step at all and stands a few paces from Tough, looking down at him, tilting his head side to side.
This power core is without power. I do not know how.
I can see
but
that.
The spirit, Raucus, had a symbiotic relationship, and it is no more. Without it, he is dead.
No. We need another one. Where can we find another power core?
I'm gonna put my hand on Jules' shoulder.
No, don't touch me, and I'll smack
There
it
is
off
no
my
other
shoulder.
power core. Not like this one.
I'll run up out of desperation, be like, Jules, look out, let me try, and I'll put a hand on Tough and just try and lay on hands, hoping that'll do something.
Yeah, you cast lay on hands as you would any other time. The glow appears, casts light on Tough's body, but nothing happens.
Waltz will just look to the party and kind of slowly shake his head.
Jules is kind of hyperventilating at this point. I think in just blind rage and fear, he'll grab his trident and attempt to just thrust at this dwarf.
Can you roll me a fortitude save?
That's not going to be good. 16.
As you go to thrust, you hear, and your hand lets go of the trident instantly, and it clanks on the ground, and your hand feels weak, and by no decision of your own, you have dropped this trident.
Jules, this isn't a battle to be won. Let me take a look. And I will, I don't know, try to get a vibe check on old Tough here with my medical expertise.
Vibe check. Roll it up.
Let's check the vibes.
I mean, he's an automaton, so I'm a little out of my depth here, but that is a 26.
Dax, you're looking tough up and down using all of your medical knowledge, and there's just no apparent injury. There's really nothing for you to latch onto to dissect, and you just keep looking at this empty power core, and the dwarf says,
Trust me, Dax. If there's anyone here that knows life or death, it's me. That power core is as much a core as it is a phylactery.
I am done with your lies and your words. Move aside, Dax.
Dax will look over to Renard and just kind of bow his head and step to the side.
Reynard, as you step forward, Gothrum, starting to take a few steps away from Tuff towards the exit, says,
It's no use. He is gone. But we must go.
I don't even respond. Reynard's done with that guy. He just hates him so much. Like that, just is like doesn't want to say anything more. Reynard's gonna kneel down next to Tuff, holding like this last bit of power that he's been like hunting for forever. I am not a good judge of character, I think. He looks at the guys. He goes, I thought Raul was my best friend. He betrayed me. I think I was wrong for thinking that this Roboto Gato was anything other than a hero. And then I'm gonna press the Flora Devida into his core and see if it does anything.
As you start to do that, Gothrum stops in place and looks over his shoulder, and then turns around completely to observe what is happening. And you lower this dim Flora Devida into Tuff's power core and release it. And as you do, you touch it with one finger, sending a jolt of energy through it. And the core starts to slowly rotate as a shell closes over it and starts to spin in place, slowly, then faster and faster, until you hear a subtle hum, and then a blue glow resonates from Tuff, and his eyes jolt open as electricity dances through his body. And Tuff, you are awake.
As I open my eyes
did it.
and kind of come to, I'll see Don Renard the Kitsune standing in front of me, and I'll kind of come to and deliriously say, Oh, no, a dog. Did I die and go to hell?
Tuff, you're alive.
Close, my friend. Very, very close.
Of course I'm alive. Why wouldn't I be?
Oh my god, Tuff, I thought we lost you.
I'll run over and grab him by the shoulders and bring him in for a big hug.
Calm down, buddy. You're jarring my bolts.
Sorry. Oh, I've lost you once. I can't do it again. You gotta stop doing this.
What are you talking about? And why does my chest hurt? Ugh.
I will look at Gothrum real quick. Like Reynard is gonna see if he stayed to watch this.
He stared the entire time. He is stroking his beard, looking curious, maybe somewhat impressed, maybe even troubled, hard to tell. And then he simply crosses his muscular arms and looks at you, Renard. And can you roll me a perception check?
You bet your booty I can. Ooh. Oh, thank you, dice. 27.
He holds his gaze on you for maybe 2 seconds at most, but it conveys so much information, and you can tell he knows what you just did.
Then I'm gonna say, as they're kind of starting to get happy that Tuff's alive and celebrate one, I'm gonna say, please, my friends, we should leave this dark place. I want to see this guy.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
And I'm gonna lean on
It's good to have you
Zoki.
back, Tuff.
Gothrum nods and begins to lead the way out of this pyramid, and remember, you're surrounded by undead soldiers that begin to part as he is walking. They're clearly in reverence to him, and the path he creates remains open for all of you to follow him, including Zig. And he goes, "Oh man, what a day. Huh, glad you're alive there, kitty cat." And he pats you on the head.
Who? What?
You remember me, Volthor? Did your memory get wiped when you reboot?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're that prick who just walked us right into a trap. Are you the one that tried to kill me? And I'll pull out my gun.
Yeah, guilty as charged. Sorry, what can I say?
Dax will kind of push his way in between Tuff and Zig and just grab him by the shirt or whatever and say, "Tell me what happened to Meeg."
Whoa, relax. Dax,
I think I'm done relaxing for now. Tell me what happened to Meeg.
Okay, no problem. He's dead.
What do you mean he's dead?
He's dead. What am I speaking Elvish here? What do you mean?
Where'd you take him?
Arcta. Yeah. I mean, he's probably an icicle at this point.
You'll forgive me if I don't believe every word you say, Zig.
Look, man, he kind of slaps your hands down and he dusts off his coat. What's the problem? It's just business. We arrived on Arcta. It was in a blizzard. Stabbed him. He bit me. He rolls up his sleeve and you just see a big chomp mark in his shoulder. I couldn't see a damn thing, but yeah. He wandered off. No chance he survived. It was in, let's see, what's that place called?
He's snapping, kind of thinking to himself.
Takawan. Yeah. It means Survivor Valley or something like that. No chance you're getting out of there unless you know where you're going. And seeing as our boy Meeg has only ever been on Drakis, I don't think he's surviving a blizzard. Because I don't know if you've been in snow yet, but it's a lot different than lava, I'll tell you that.
That's all I needed to know, Zig.
It's nothing
And
personal.
he'll
You
just
would have
let
done
him
the
go
same
and-
thing
and
in my...
walk off and not give him, the
too
time
good
of
for
day.
Drakis. Dax doesn't know what it's like being a scavenger anymore. Wow, okay. Yeah, whatever.
Jules will walk over to his trident that fell to the ground and pick it up, and as he's putting it back behind him, he'll say, "All right, gang, we better get going."
All right. You all start to follow Gothrum out of the pyramid. Zig's just still yelling things at Dax about forgetting where he came from and taking things too personally and just kind of cursing him out as the undead soldiers start to close behind you and his sounds get muffled as you exit out of the pyramid. And you're now standing in the light once again.
As we're walking, Tuff will just kind of lean to Jules. Hey, generally I have a good idea of everything that's going on around me. So maybe just, clarify for me. Why are we following this Gothrum guy now?
Did you say Gothrum? And he'll look at the dwarf.
Yeah, the old dude, right? Didn't you all hear him say his name?
No.
No.
That is the one who entered my mind.
Oh, so that happened to you too.
Yeah, so it would seem.
Dax?
Yeah?
Did he go into your mind? He did
Yeah,
it to
and
all of
unfortunately,
us.
this isn't the first time.
You have a history with him.
Yeah, he works with Raoul.
That makes sense.
You know Gothrum?
I don't know if I know him, but remember that heist I was telling you about where I got that medal for Raoul or
Yeah.
the Skyblade or Zorak? Oh well, what all of the plethora of names he goes by. Well, I think this old dwarf guy. I think he might have been. I don't know. He's either a tool of his or was pulling the strings. I don't know, but he entered my mind there just to make sure I was good for the job. It freaked me right the heck out. I was really hoping I'd never have to see him again. I don't have a good feeling about this, guys.
Yeah, how do we defeat a guy like that?
Defeat him? I'm still confused as to why we're following him right now then.
I think that's off the table right now, lads. Tough, you seemed out of it, and then suddenly, from your core, a figure appeared, almost as if it was pulled out of you. He appeared to be a catfolk of some kind, and he talked to this Gothrum.
This catfolk fellow that was in your core was a keeper, and it would seem that he and Gothrum have struck a deal of keepers, something they are both bound to, and I believe that somewhere within that bargain our lives were spared.
And as you say that, you guys exit the pyramid into the sunlight, and Gothrum turns around and he says,
The Kitsune is correct. I have taken an elder oath. A bargain was made between me and Raucus, giving you all another chance to return the Flora Devida to Ciudad de Nubes. I must ensure you can leave here with a chance to do so. And seeing as none of you are keepers yet, you cannot travel through unaligned nodes. So I will take you to the node and get you off-world.
What binds you to fulfill this oath? What's keeping you from violating it?
his eyes flare for a moment and he spits in disgust and rambles something in a language you don't understand.
You know nothing. It is an elder oath. A lie cannot be spoken in elder. We have made an agreement.
Well, however rudely he said it, Waltz, he did actually make some sort of deal with Raucus inside of me, that catfolk that everyone saw. It seemed pretty binding to me. all kinds of whimsy, magical keeper talk.
Well, I guess we got lucky then, didn't we?
Look, guys, I'm normally one for the fight with you guys, but my survival instincts are kicking in. I think we just got to keep our heads down, try to get out of this. I mean, you saw what he did to Jules, make him drop his trident. All he had to do was speak a few words, and we can't even fight him.
You have no other choice. There is by no other means you can get off this planet in time to return the Flora Devida to Ciudad de Nubes. And I must fulfill my oath. This is not a negotiation.
Gothrum, what's your goal here?
The only goal I have that matters is getting you off-world. That is the other oath I am bound to. And if you want to stop Lorthal's destruction, then we must work together now.
And then he turns to the side and he says,
All of you, place your hand on my shoulder.
Waltz will be hesitant, but reach a hand out and touch his shoulder.
Reynard
Yeah,
will
Dax will be
follow.
among the first since he's just trying to go along with it so he lives.
Tough 2 will place a hand upon Gothrum's shoulder.
when you place your hand on him, you can tell he feels cold, but he also feels incredibly like muscular and like dense and like immovable. And you just feel like power resonating from him. And his eyes flare for a moment, and you all simply have a flash wipe over your face, and then suddenly you're standing by the node where you killed the T-Rex on this island.
Well, that'll fast forward things.
This guy
And Gothrum looks around and sees the dead T-Rex and looks to all of you, tilting his head.
You should leave that one dead, please.
Yeah, it shoots lightning. Yeah.
You see his eyes linger on it for a moment, and you can almost feel like you sensed his mustache lift a little, like he smirked at this dead T-Rex. And then he looks towards the node and starts to walk towards it.
All of you, get on the node.
I'll do that.
Yeah,
Same.
I'm on.
We've come this far.
I'll actually stand off and I'll just wave at the group and say, "Have fun storming the castle."
You all step onto the node. Although I haven't roleplayed them at all, Smith and Zoki are with you. Zoki has not really spoken this entire time because she's also like very afraid and like trembling, and you can tell she just feels safe being near all of you and just doing whatever you're doing and doesn't want to speak to like reveal herself to Gothrum and be detected in any way, almost hoping that he just doesn't notice she's there. Smith is sticking close to Renard. Also was very happy when Tuff was brought back to life and nudged him a good amount and was just happy to see his buddy.
Uh-huh.
And you all step onto the node, and Gothrum takes a knee and starts to trace his hands along the runes on the node, almost like out of respect to it, not necessarily like he's doing anything. And he looks up at all of you and says,
My bargain was to get you off-world with a chance to return to Flora Devida. I will do so. But that does not mean you will not encounter resistance on your way. I do not even want you to succeed, but I must fulfill my end of the deal.
and he stands up and he pulls out a compass and opens it, and you see a projection of the system of Keldora. And Jules, right away, you would feel like this is the compass of Amun-Ra that your crew set out to find, in which you were thrown overboard as bait, and suddenly it all comes flooding back to you when Captain Kirkfang says he was approached by a mysterious, bearded, hooded figure in a tavern who told him the way to get past Serapis was to use an Azurketi as bait. And when you confronted him in this temple, he said he knew your name and that you had already served your purpose. And you realize this guy is the reason you were fed to a giant sea serpent and sent you on this entire journey.
Jules' eyebrows furl and he says, "It was you."
He doesn't even look at you as he's just manipulating the projection from this compass as if you're no concern to him, and he's simply making sure he gets you off-world.
Reynard, like staring daggers at him and like leaning heavily on Cervantes, is going to say, I do not know why you were ever made a keeper, but I hope you live just long enough to know how terribly wrong you are.
Gothrum, who had just touched the planet of Lorthal on the projection, expanded it, observed what looks like were nodes on the planet, and something else near it, getting his heading, snaps the compass closed and looks at Renard.
I'm not even alive right now.
And he kneels down and places his hand on the node and says,
Per custores liniera via quinta solis un verdis portum.
and stands up as the runes start to glow. He's taking several paces back, and everything on the node begins to resonate with magical energy, and a surge of energy shoots over you as you see Gothrum's face for a brief final second, and you're sent flying across the system of Keldora at blazing speed until suddenly you are jolted to an abrupt stop as you hear the sound of the node powering down, and hear birds chirping, a cool breeze, and beautiful greenery all around you. Can you all roll me a perception check?
15.
17.
Well, I got
22.
20.
24.
All right. Good enough for all of you. You all take in your surroundings and realize you are deep in the wilderness somewhere in very dense, beautiful forest. The weather is perfect. And you are up high on a ridge, on a node just in the center of this wilderness. Doesn't look like anyone lives here, anyone's around it. And you're just overlooking this beautiful vista that stretches as far as the eye can see, with rivers running through it, trees, small mountains. It just looks like a painting by Bob Ross himself.
Wow.
The sun is not setting yet, but it's getting low, and it's just casting a beautiful orange and purple across this scenery. And for a moment, you just feel very safe. It feels like a complete polar opposite from the situation you're just in, surrounded by undead and darkness and evil. And you can tell right away you're on Lorthal. This is Lorthal's climate, but you're not near like Mazivo or anything like that. You're just deep in its magnificent wilderness, and you can see very far because
that
you're on
son
this
of a
ridge.
gun. He could have at least put us back on Mazivo.
I do not think we were put here by accident, and if I could, Tough,
Nah.
you in your core now is what remains of the Flora de la Vida.
Come again?
Gothrum let go of the last vestiges of that power, and I used it to bring you back from being turned off, I guess. I am very weak. Being away from the Flora de la Vida, it takes a toll. That's why I cannot have a beautiful human form like I did before, and I must have this much more beautiful dog form, as you so put it.
Zoki puts her hand on your shoulder.
You look great, Renard. Really. I like this form better.
Thank you, Zoki. I appreciate that. That from you, that means a lot, actually. But again, Tough, if you stop and listen to your core, connect to it, focus on that power, find that river, I think you will be able to find your way to my home.
I thought you said they would never see it.
I have been wrong about many things.
Tuff will just kind of look down towards his chest that holds his core and just like think really hard about why Don Renard would do that. And Tuff will just look up at Don Renard with just the most astonished look and say, "You did that for me, even though I called you Dong?"
I suppose I did. I think I misjudged you. I do not know that I trust my judgment as much as I used to. Perhaps I never should have. And
But that's insane. I don't understand. Isn't this what runs your entire city?
Yes, don't. What happens when we get there?
and honestly, my friends, I do not fully know.
Wait, did you not think this through?
You stupid, stupid dog. What the heck are we supposed to do now? I've got to figure this out now. This thing's inside of me, and you expect me to just go there and do whatever I'm supposed to do with the Flora Fajita?
Tough.
Rakis,
If he didn't do this, you'd be dead.
I don't know if you were alive for this stuff, but Rakis made it clear that the four of you are meant for very great things, and it was by fate, and fate alone, that we met. He called me the keeper of my home, and I think if anyone is going to save my home, it will be keepers again who do it as before, like Nyakor. I wish I could see them again. Yes, I wish I could join you. Yeah, but I am too weak. It needs to be you, the four of you.
We won't let you down, Reynaldo. And I'll look to you and give you a little smirk and a wink.
Wait, so you can't come with us? What? I mean, I can heal you. What?
It is deeper than that. This is elder magic. It is something that goes deeper than a wound, even to my flesh. It is something in my soul, my core. And I will rest. And he looks at Smith and he says, and when I am ready, I will follow you. Yes, I will come swift upon the wings of Cervantes, and join you to save my home. But I am not capable, right, as I am now. It would be in your way, and I do not know that I could sustain the travel, if I'm being honest.
Tough is again realizing what Don Renard has just done, essentially sacrificing himself and the Flora Devida to put inside of Tough and save my life. And Tough is just grappling with this situation and says, Don Renard, I mean, I understand you believe in all this keeper stuff and that we're supposed to be the keepers, but that's too big of a risk to trust that we would be capable of fulfilling this. I don't understand why you wouldn't just carry it on.
Had you a father, Tough?
Tough kind of looks away. Yeah.
I have a son, and he often does not understand why I would do the things that I did, but I do them because I see in him things he does not see in himself. And
Oh, man.
I don't know if you are aware of it, and I do not think that you need to be, but this is right.
Nice.
Dang, dude.
Zoki's kind of looking back and forth while you can see Tough is like struggling with what Renard just said to him. And she goes, hold on, like, I don't understand. Like, you're going to be okay though, right? Like, we get this back to the city and in the sky, and then like you're okay, right? Like, you'll be able to rest.
Peace. Come, Zoki. I am not going to die today. No, I am bound to my home. And if you save La Ciudad de las Nubes, you will also save me. But the weakness you see in me is the weakness that my home is experiencing as well. Everyone, the children, the elderly, the infirm, they are being weakened as I am. And you will save them all, if you can. Here, take my ring. They will know.
I'll take it.
They will know me. They will know it is mine. Tell them that you have come by the bidding of the keepers to save my home, and trust.
Okay, so
Trust the flower. Trust the Flora Devida. It is in you. It will guide you to where you need to go.
you see Zoki's eyes darting back and forth. Okay, so we gotta go. So to save you, right? Like it's important. We gotta go now.
Give Tough a moment, and maybe some space. He needs to connect. And I'm gonna just try and if Tough will let him, give him some basic instruction. Don will draw his sword and he'll say, I am not a very good teacher, but this is how I was told to follow the flow of the Flora Devida.
Tough will just be kind of looking down, sort of looking like he's still contemplating in a little bit of bewilderment. So you may sort of get the sense that maybe he can hear you, but is struggling to listen and think within his own head at the same time.
Reynard's gonna flick you with his blade to kind of get your attention, just like a non-lethal any kind of way, just like a tap to kind of like an instructor would, like a slap, pay attention. I do not know if I can show you this more than once.
Tough, I feel would usually jerk back and have some kind of quip, but just raises his head silently and looks to Don Renard.
He kind of shows you how to stand, like a balancing stance, so that your center of gravity is evenly spaced. He might kind of push one of your feet or whatever, and he's saying, do not lock your knees. Close your eyes and picture the thing which you desire more than anything in the world, the place you need to go. And he's kind of holding his sword out as he does this. This would be like what you guys saw him do maybe once or twice as he was trying to find the Flora Devida. So, and I don't think Reynard knows how you guys are going to get to the city necessarily, but I think he knows no matter what, this is the first step. This is what has to happen. Tough needs to connect with that power. And he'll reference that big monologue he waxed on about before underground, where he says, look for the outflow of that great river of power and see if you can tap into it.
Can you roll me a nature check, Tough?
Oh, and I guess that I'll give him the aid action, I suppose, by trying to help him, if that's something I can do.
Yeah, roll
Good
nature with
thinking.
+2.
We're playing a game, everybody.
Yeah, Tough a little bit slow to like just understand what Don Renard is saying, just kind of like slowly starts to follow his instructions and just like close his eyes. 10.
Tough closes his eyes. He's trying to think really hard, and you all see his power core through the hole in his shirt starting to churn and spin a little bit faster. He's clearly concentrating, trying to maintain a stance. And then all of a sudden, a burst of blue energy shoots out of the gaps in all of his like armor and through just the seams and everything. And he is sent flying back and hits the ground and rolls to the ground. And you can tell he technically linked onto it, but he failed to harness it.
I'll run over and I'll help him back up. Are you all right?
Whoa. Do I look all right?
Well done.
I'm gonna guess you didn't do it right.
I told you I'm
that
not
worked?
cut out for this dong.
No, that was perfect. You're new to this. I have fallen on my face many times as I learn to connect to this power. You are not alone in this discovery.
Yeah, you'll get it next time, buddy.
But you can feel the flow.
I'm feeling something. And I cough up some sparks.
Raynard will maybe just say like, take a moment, time to meditate, reflect. Try and remember what you just experienced, but learn from it. Quiet your mind. Raynard's going to kind of sit down in kind of a position to kind of meditate and gesture for Tough to like sit with him.
Tough is just going to look around at everybody like, are you guys like, are you on board with all this?
I'll give you a reassuring nod.
I don't see any other way.
You've got
Looks
this
like
stuff.
it's the only choice we got.
And Tough will just sigh and slump his shoulders down. Freaking dogs and their ideas, and worst one yet. There's a grumble
And he's going to say this quietly so that not everybody can hear, because he wants Tough to feel like he can be honest, but he says, where have you found peace in life? A place, a time.
I don't know, the casino.
Truly. Where,
Peace?
yes, a sense that you were in
I've
the right...
never known
you
peace.
were in the right
Look
place.
at me. I'm an automaton. Nothing for me has been peaceful since the day I was born.
Come. On a job, right? Doing a mission. Having a task to complete.
How many times have you felt at peace while on a mission, Don Renard?
While this is happening, Jules will take his ocarina out and he'll start playing a song that he always played on their rickety old little boat together, just in the downtimes when they're just talking. And it was Tough's favorite song.
Tough's ears will like perk up and like jolt him toward the direction of Jules. And then I'll turn my head to look over at Jules and listen to him play his song.
I'll give a nod and a wink while I continue to play.
And then I'll just kind of look back towards Don Renard. Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, I guess I have had a few times where I have felt truly happy.
Good. I'm sorry that there were not more. But think of those times, if you can.
Yeah, me too. But, yeah, I'll try.
Can you roll me another nature check with a +4 bonus?
I rolled a 15.
Okay. Tough, your eyes are closed. You're thinking of your time on the high wind with Jules. First person that you felt truly cared about you and you could be yourself around since Dunedast. And something you just never thought you'd find again, especially because for most of your life you thought Dunedast abandoned you. And you're thinking about you guys laughing, reminiscing on the adventures of your past and all of the hijinks you've encountered, and just laughing on the boat for the brief moment before Captain Perry found you guys when you thought you really struck it big and everything you ever wanted was coming your way. And you just kind of live in that moment. And your eyes are still closed and everyone else is observing you. And you start to glow in your core, a subtle blue, and your body starts to subtly levitate off the ground with your eyes closed. and everyone is kind of standing up for a moment, maybe even Renard. Can't even believe what he's seen. And then Tough, you open your eyes, realize you're in the air, and then fall to the ground in a panic and land on your butt in front of everybody.
Ouch!
What was that?
Why couldn't you have made my can out of something tougher than tin?
It's got a dent in it.
Well done, Tough. That was good. Yes. You're on your way. I did not know you could fly.
Neither did I until now. And I check my back to see if I also have gross wings growing out.
Gosh dang it. I don't smell anything, so I don't
Stinky
think so,
ones.
bud.
Yeah.
Reynard,
I
it
brush my
kind of
brow.
dawns on
Phew.
you after seeing him float that it makes sense that that's like an innate thing that would happen, as that's what the Flora Devida does for your home. And it
Gosh.
now resides in him.
Oh, man,
Same
that
way.
makes way too much sense. Oh, jeez.
Dude, are you saying I can fly now?
Maybe.
Oh yeah.
Sick.
It's like Peter Pan.
Tell me, where is the city? Where is my home?
What? How? What are you talking? Wait a second. And Tough will kind of clutch his chest.
Home is where the heart is, bro.
Oh my gosh.
Tough, you feel like you genuinely, for an inexplainable reason, have a feeling in your chest that you know where the city is.
I just look up to Don Renard with like inspiration in my eyes, and then you know.
Good. That is all that you need. I need to rest. I'm going to walk over to Cervantes and kind of sit down where I can.
Cervantes is jumping for joy around Tough, seeing that he can fly, and he does a few flutter of his wings to kind of, like he's like trying to teach you almost. Like, oh, it's not that hard. And he's circling around you, and he lands, and he nudges you like, try again. Jumping. And then he sees Renard wandering and sitting on a rock nearby. And then he kind of hangs his head for a moment and gives you another nudge, Tough, and then looks back to Renard and walks over by him and stands next to his friend. And Zoki goes, okay, well, we gotta go, right? So you know where it is and you can fly. Can you make us, like, fly or what? Whoa.
Fly? What are you, crazy? I mean, I know where we're going now, but...
How else are we gonna get there? It's in the sky. That was your plan, right, Don Renard?
Yes. I imagine what you just showed us was just a piece of what you can do. I think if you are able to concentrate fully, find that place of home again, and follow it, I believe you will be able to take everyone to the city. And look at you, Zoki. You care. You really are.
Well, you can't die until you pay me, Don Renard.
And she laughs.
Here. He hands her his guitar, picks it up off the ground and hands it to her.
She walks over kind of apprehensive, like looking a little confused.
Go with them, follow them, and take this. Take my guitar home. My eldest, she played music, but at least she did before I left, and you can give this to her and tell her it is from me.
Zoki looks over her shoulder at the rest of Digsby's crew and then kind of looks back at you almost like it's sort of private and takes the guitar, and you can see she looks very confused as she remembers a conversation you guys had and slings it over her shoulder, and she just gives you a really big, tight hug.
You are a very good person. Thank you.
No, Don Renard. You're a good person. Growing up on the streets, everybody just looked at me like I was garbage. But you took a boulder for me, and I'll never forget it.
And she gives you a big hug again. Let's go. And you can see, like, if she looks at you any longer, she'll get, like, too sad and just turns around and looks at everyone.
Let's go! You gotta make us fly. We gotta get this back for Don Renard. Come on.
I mean, he's not wrong. We're running out of time.
You got it, Tough. Don Renard, we're gonna save your city and make sure we see you soon, all right?
Bet on it, Wally.
Yeah, Renard. We won't let anybody forget this. We'll get this done. We'll save you, and Jules here, he'll sing songs of this legend for years.
I believe you. Thank you. He's kind of running out of word. Like, he really is kind of like, I think, both like getting physically exhausted, but also like, I think he's personally fighting some emotions he's not trying to show. Like, the actual like sadness and frustration at like not being at the front of the charge. Like I think there's a whole bunch of him that feels like really disappointed and let down. But he's like trying to like shove that down so that these guys can have like the right face of like as they go on. He doesn't want to show them like a bummed out Reynard.
Jules will walk over to Don Renard and kneel down by him and maybe put a classic Jules hand on the shoulder. And he'll say, "Are you sure you're going to be all right?"
As sure as I am that I'm just a little bit better at playing music than you. Yes.
He is pretty good, Jules. Guitar.
Even entirely covered in fur, you're devilishly handsome, and I hate you.
It's like this weird, like, he's definitely not, he doesn't mean that rude at all. He's definitely trying to, like, say it in love.
Yeah. And Jules is also saying this in love. He'll kind of extend his hand out with the back of his hand facing upwards, if that makes sense for the listeners. I'm sorry if that was weird. But
Palm
towards
down.
you, as if to, like, shake your hand. Palm down. Thank you, Taryn. So helpful this session.
Absolutely take it, like, very sincerely.
I'll grip his hand, but as I pull away, you'll feel something in it.
Okay.
And Jules will stand up and start to step back.
I look at my hand.
And I'll start to pet Smith a little bit. I'll say, "That was my mother's necklace. You gave me your ring. I expect that back."
Aw.
And then to Smith, I'll say, "Take care of him, will you?"
Smith chirps, snorts, like, you know I will.
And then I'll give one last look back to Don Renard.
His eyes are watering, darn you. He says, "I hate you so much."
I'll smirk at that and give him a nod, and then I'll walk back to the rest of the group.
Zoki is getting very antsy, looking at Tuff, doesn't expect Tuff to want to say anything to Don Renard anyway, like, okay, we've wasted enough time. You're talking about saving him. How are we going to do that if we don't fly?
I've been trying. And then you turn around and see Tuff is just like squatting, clenching as hard as he can.
Oh, goodness. All right, Tuff. After spending all this time hunched over, squatting, channeling that feeling of happiness, tapping into what you just did earlier, but trying to expand it to a greater level, you realize you have the ability to fly. And as you start to hover, and everyone's perhaps like in awe of your ability to control this, you start to kind of understand how this is working a little bit better and confidently look out towards Jules. And as you do so, a magical tether ignites and fires outwards and wraps Jules in this aura and lifts him up as well. And you look to the rest of Digsby's crew and begin to fire it out towards Waltz and Dax and Zoki, and they are all hovering alongside you as long as you are able to.
I didn't ask for this.
Dax's little wings are flapping as hard as they can.
Like, just in case it doesn't work, he's like, oh man.
He's just trying to stabilize himself.
And all of you are hovering before Don Renard, who is looking at perhaps the keepers of Keldora wielding the Flora Devida, ready to rescue his home one more time.
I'll start to ascend into the air with the rest of the Digsby's crew tethered to me. And then I'll pause for a moment as they continue to ascend, and I'll just look back to Don Renard and say, "You know, I think I misjudged you too." And then Tuff will just turn back and continue to ascend towards La Ciudad de los Nubes.
And Digsby's crew takes off into the horizon, Tuff guiding you all. And as you fly towards the city, gaining distance, disappearing on the horizon, Dax, a sinking feeling hits your chest as you remember Raoul, Zorak, and his very formidable mount, the Merkvane from Dracus, a thing of nightmares, and suddenly you feel very unsafe as you can see that Tuff needs to concentrate as he flies. He needs to concentrate to keep all of you tethered, and the last thing that you would want to encounter is this Merkvane. And maybe you don't want to tell this to the rest of the group, but it is something that is in your mind and you're just hoping. And with that, we cut back to Renard as you watch Digsby's crew
Are they
disappear
they're far enough
out of
away?
eyesight.
Okay, good.
Yes.
I'm gonna put the necklace, like tether it to Cervantes. I'm gonna sit down and like have like one quick moment where I just kind of go, oh, okay, this sucks. Oh.
And as you do that sigh and say this sucks, you see Smith with his head hung low, but looking up at you with his eyes. And you've seen that look before, and you can tell he's worried about you.
I honestly don't know if I can last long enough for them to get it there. I don't even know if they will succeed. I wanted to be there, Cervantes. I wanted to make it. And then the same thought that occurred to Dax occurs to Don Reynard, and he realizes like, oh no, and he kind of thinks, and he's gonna go ahead and say, Cervantes, quickly, I had forgotten about Raul and his winged beast. If they find our friends in the sky, they will take them out. I've seen Raul kill from the skies. That is why he's called the Blade. Go, please, with all haste. I will be all right. Protect our friends. Follow them home, Cervantes. You can help them even find the way. Get their back and make sure that they are safe. Please.
You say that, and the words kind of hang for a moment, and you were looking down when you're saying that, and then you look up and realize he hasn't moved since he had his head hung low, looking at you with concern, and he's just still staring at you, just his eyes locked on you. And he just slowly walks forward and puts his beak on your shoulder. He just kind of rests his head there.
I am very glad we got to fly again. That is where you and I belong, in the skies. Go, and when the city is saved, return, find me, and I will come home with you, if I can.
He lets out like a kind of like a low humming chirp, like a soothing one.
And I think Cervantes would know he's kind of bull. Like he actually doesn't think he's gonna make it. Like that's the. But he doesn't. It's not in him to say like that. It's doomed. You know.
Yeah. Cervantes gives you another one of your friendly bumps as his beak bumps your chest. Something you do before you guys embark on a mission, and then he just slowly backs away and then turns, but then looks at you one last time and lowers his head and gives out his confident snort, and then he kicks off the ground, powerful wings, and then lets out his soaring chirp as he takes off towards Digsby's crew.
And as he takes off, I step up kind of to where he left, and I draw my sword and salute to him, kind of symbolically to him and the others. But then immediately after that, Reynard is going to try and flare whatever kind of elder magic left by the Flora Devida is still within him. Like, kind of just concentrate it into his sword, do exactly what he and Tuff were just doing, but trying to, like wildly, to try and combat with, like, whatever stuff that Raul has to kind of figure out where the Flora Devida is. He wants to try and convince him that he's where it is.
And with no regard to your own reserves.
Yeah, burn whatever hours he has left and just kind of...
Man.
Reynard, as just the formidable Don that you are, someone entrusted with the ability to guard the Flora Devida, no one is more experienced than you with manipulating that energy. And you know that the Flora Devida lives in all Kitsune, all who have basked in it. And you find what little energy remains, consolidate it, and release it in a brilliant display of blue light, mimicking the Flora Devida itself in the weakened state that it is in. You feel you've confidently, in a brief moment, surpassed it for any that can detect its magic, and hope that you have accurately imitated it, and instantly fall back onto the rock you were sitting on, exhausted.
Oh, I should have kept my guitar.
And as you're resting for a moment, Reynard, is there anything that's like running through your head in particular as you wait?
No, to be completely honest, I think like his whole reason for doing that was like hoping to draw Raul if he could. I think his thoughts are on Raul. I think he's thinking about like his friend, and bizarrely enough, like the he's not really thinking about his family as much as he's thinking about like the person that burned him the most, that he cared about. It's like the unfinished part of his life, the piece that just still, it never made sense.
Absolutely. And as you sit there, focused on what may be your final mission, you are surprised that a brief moment of excitement overtakes you as you see this Merc vein on the horizon, knowing at least that your plan may have worked, but then it turns to sorrow, knowing what is to come. And this massive, black, bat-like creature from the bowels of Dracus, menacing, terrifying, especially as the sun begins to set and there's just a dark orange glow in the sky. This creature with electricity dancing around its wings soars to this magnificent ravine you're on and lands heavily, kicking up dirt and dust, and lowers its head as Raoul, with a confident smirk on his face, sets his eyes on you in his human form and slides down the wing of this creature and begins walking towards you and says,
I see there is no further need for charades.
And he relinquishes himself from the spell that makes him appear human and reveals his kitsune form, the white fox that Dax encountered in Drogadun, covered in scars and nicks, but wearing elegant jewelry on his fingers, looking very proud, standing tall as he walks towards you.
I can sense he's like coming at me aggressively. Reynard's gonna like kind of put his hands up and be like, please, a moment. I'm alone. My friends are gone and I'm weakened from our last encounter. Please, I promise this conflict between us will end, but give me a moment.
And as you say that, he just pauses, kind of tilting his head side to side.
You don't look so good, Renard. Or is that merely the look of guilt knowing you have failed all that you love?
I do not feel guilt. I am, for any other than you, perhaps. I do not know why. You were my best friend and ally, a decorated warrior. Why did you turn on your people?
He stops like he was walking towards you, looking ready to fight, and he tilts his head, but then this look of bloodlust seems to be replaced with genuine enthusiasm in a way. And he says, as he pauses in place,
Finally, a kitsune ready to confront reality.
And he takes his hand off of the sword and reaches into his vest and pulls out a cigar and lights it up, holding it to his mouth and taking a drag.
I have been waiting for this day a long time, Renard. You represent everything wrong with Ciudad de la Nubes. Arrogant, complacent, and selfish. We were given the Flora Devida by the keepers of Keldora. They chose us. And what have we done with this gift? We float around in the sky. We should be rulers of Keldora, the keepers' chosen people. Instead, we have hidden ourselves away for centuries, electing people like you as our leaders.
And when he says that, he just looks disgusted, looking you up and down.
I could see it would take something drastic to correct our course, so I unveiled our home to the Sky Pirates. I had hoped it would both reveal a need to investigate the world and expose your incompetence as a leader in battle, promoting myself in your stead, of course. But you proved to be lucky, and I did not foresee your mercy in sparing the captain who ultimately exposed me.
And he pulls a cigar up and takes another drag as he's blowing smoke out, looking over the horizon at the setting sun.
Reynard's kind of, it's funny because this is his enemy, but the two of them sitting together talking is like actually an old hat for him. You know what I mean? Like this is like a comfortable spot. So he kind of relaxes a bit and he says, I still do not understand. We cleared your memory. How could you have ever returned?
He blows out the smoke and looks back at you.
Well, yes, of course. Rather than hearing my perspective, our elected officials chose to wallow in their ignorance and cast me out, wiping me of my memory, leaving me to wander without the knowledge of the Flora Devida necessary for my own existence, simply waiting for me to die on my own. Why deal with a problem when you can pretend it never existed? Heads in the clouds.
And he looks at you, tilting his head, knowing you are Don Renard of the Clouds.
For a time, I was free of the burden to realize the potential of what we were given, but fate knows of our glorious purpose and wants to see it come to fruition.
Our glorious purpose.
Gothrum? Surely you have met him by now, seeing as you carry the Flora Devida with you. Found me. He is uniquely gifted with the ability to uncover memories and manipulate life. He restored my mind and sustained me apart from the Flora Devida, and gave me back my purpose. You see, Gothrum is a keeper himself, further proof of their ultimate vision for us. With my restored memories, I could now locate our home and get the Flora Devida back in the hands of a keeper, so together we could realize its full potential.
And is this why you let us leave without pursuit?
I spared you before because it seemed you too were traveling with keepers. Gothrum hinted such a thing could occur. It was not for me to decide if they could be trusted, so I enabled you to leave Lorthal. However, there is one thing Gothrum made abundantly clear.
And he takes a long drag of his cigar and blows out the smoke and throws it on the ground and puts it out with his foot.
The Flora Devida is not to be returned to the soils of Ciudad de la Nubes, and Lorthal is to be destroyed. Much hinges on this. I do not know how you managed to secure the Flora Devida, but judging by the state you are in, it cost your keepers their lives.
Forget.
And now...
No, please, forget this conflict. I have to know, there has to have been a time. We were friends, Raul. Why could you not have come to me with these issues? Your concerns about our people. Why could you not trust me?
This is bigger than our meager friendship, Renard. You would not sacrifice your purpose to vouch for me before the council. Why would I sacrifice mine for you?
And he looks down to his blade and slowly draws it and says,
Are you ready for your last dance, my friend?
Reynard stands, shakily, I imagine, and he says, I will accept this fight you are so desperate to seek, but you will never have the Flora Devida. You're as blind now as you were then. And I will try and attack him, I suppose. I don't know what kind of negatives I've got.
As you start drawing your blade and stumbling towards him, he says,
We will see if you are so witty when I pry it from your dead corpse.
And he starts stepping towards you as well.
Ooh, could I do a performance to try and convince him that I'm not super duper weak and
Absolutely,
fragile?
Yeah. Roll it up. You have a hero point too if you want to burn it.
Let's go. I mean, performance is my jam. That's my whole deal. Let's go. 27.
All right. Don Renard, you take your own advice that you gave Tuff and think of the place where you are at peace, and you think of your villa at home with your family, surrounded by loved ones, the whole reason you are fighting, and you decide it's time for one last performance with all of the grace and agility and power that you have remaining. You stand proudly in a formidable stance, listening to the teachings of your mentor growing up, channeling the way of the wind, and dash towards Raul. As the two of you clash swords, doing your best to make this fight last as long as it possibly can, doing the same thing Raul did to you in Ciudad de la Nubes, fighting in the defensive, buying time so that he could steal the Flora Devida. Only this time you are doing it to buy time for the keepers of Keldora. And you drag out this battle as long as you possibly can, never really looking to land a blow on Raul. You know it could open you up to an attack, and just fighting as the sun sets over the river, this massive vista before you all as you fight high upon a cliff, and you feel your energy begin to leave you truly as you can barely stand at all. But rather than fighting a few more blows to die on your knees, you stand tall and take Raoul's blade through your stomach as you reveal an opening so you can look him in the eyes one last time as the blade drives deep into your stomach.
I let my blade go. I kind of I approach him to kind of as if I'm gonna parry, and I just fully drop the blade, let him skewer me, and I grab his shoulders so that I can look him in the eye.
And as the blade is deep in you, and he looks you in the eyes, he says, "And this counts as my victory." The last thing you said to him before you ran through the node.
I put my hands on his shoulders, kind of gripping them intensely because I think Reynard did not anticipate how much it would hurt. And he says, "Yeah, you take my life, but I give you my pity. If you could have learned to trust your friends, you would know that I do not have the Flora Devida."
His eyes grow wide and his head tilts as you're laughing, and he says, "You lie!"
And I lean really, really close, and as blood's kind of coming up in his mouth. "No, I do not lie to those I love." And then his breath kind of just ekes out as his head kind of falls onto Raoul's shoulder.
Raoul pulls his blade out of your stomach, patting you on the chest, looking for the Flora Devida, pauses for a moment looking to the side as if trying to sense its energy, looks up to the horizon, sprints away onto his mount, and takes off into the sky. And Renard, as your head tilts over, you observe one last beautiful sunset over the planet of Lorthal. Close your eyes. And that is where we'll end
What
our
the heck
session.
was that episode?
Oh, man.
Guys.
I really feel like we need to
I
talk
really
about
wanna
this,
talk
guys.
about
I think
it.
we
This is a
gotta.
We
downtime
should.
one. There's a
'Cause
lot
honestly,
that
we haven't
yeah.
had more emotional moments in an episode.
I don't think I've felt more nervous about an episode that I've ever recorded.
Okay, yeah. This is gonna be a deep downtime. All right, everybody, shut up. I feel bad saying shut up because we're all friends here. Yeah,
Shut up and die is what you're running to say. Yeah, you're like.
yeah, absolutely. All right.
I don't feel good.
I'm sad.
Just for tradition, I'm gonna read a comment we've seen online, just so we all feel a little bit better after that.
I'll be right back, guys. I gotta call my mom.
It's okay. I'm gonna just read a nice thing someone said about us on Reddit.
Josh is still alive, guys. I'm still alive. I'm still alive.
Feel better.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank God.
Oh wait, no. This is what we need to do this time. There's a guy in our Discord, and his name is Geeky Monkey. And there's been
Yay.
several
There you go.
times in an
there
episode
you go.
where we said someone in the Discord said. And every time so far, in the most recent ones, it has been Geeky Monkey. So we're giving a shout out to Geeky Monkey. This dude is awesome. He gives some of the best, most genuine episode feedback in the Discord. Every time, you can tell that he is listening to all the plot points, and he just is always appreciative of the music and the effects and just
He's
all the
very
character
active.
moments.
I love whenever he's commenting. In
Yeah,
there.
obviously I love everyone in the Discord, but today we're giving a shout out to Geeky Monkey because really I just always look forward to it every single time. And he's just a fun guy to talk to. He's from the UK, right? Or somewhere in Europe. We're Americans, so we're super ignorant to what that means. If you're somewhere in Europe, yeah, absolutely.
Don't
America, the land
Absolutely.
that
You can probably
I
just cut that part. You can just cut that. Cut that.
Wave.
So yeah, thank you, Geeky Monkey. You're the man. Appreciate all of the awesome comments and contributions to the Discord.
Thanks,
This
buddy.
is your shout out, Geeky Monkey. If you want to meet him, come check out our
Geeky
Discord.
Monkey.
It's public now. I don't know if anyone. I don't know if we make that clear.
He'd probably
Yeah.
say hi to you.
Yeah, he'll say hi to you.
Probably.
Yeah, he's a
He
cool
may
guy.
even offer you an apple.
Cool.
I don't know.
All right, let's get to the downtime, and we will see you next time, mortals.
Raoul will put a shoulder on Dax and say,
Reynard.
Reynard. Oh my God.
Wow. Podcast almost ruined.
Raoul's here.
I've been Raoul the whole time.
Who invited this guy?
Reynard will put a hand on Dax's shoulder and say,